Welcome to the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. Brought to you by Friend Entertainment USA, producing the best concerts for charities and corporations for over 30 years. And CBMS Consulting Services, control your business before it controls you. In association with Area 22 Productions, your multimedia streaming network. Now, here is Darren and the Music Man.
And good evening, everybody, and welcome again to another episode of the Business Power Hour with Darren and the Music Man. And good evening, Mr. Darren. How are you?
Good evening, Mr. Music Man. How are you?
I am fine, thank you. How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. How was yours? How was your birthday? I know Saturday was your birthday.
Saturday was my birthday. Had a really, really nice time. I want to thank everybody. Since I've been on Facebook, which has been for a little bit of a while now, and certain people that I've used for my website, I have gone from about 100 to 200 birthday wishes.
Good.
To upwards of 800 plus.
Wow.
Which was absolutely insane. And those of you that wrote in and said thank you and happy birthday, we greatly appreciate it. But I think it's time now to get started with our show.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about tonight.
We got a guy who's on the board of directors.
Yeah, I know. We got a big wig.
Yeah,
but here, I got some questions for you first.
Okay, go ahead.
All right? Because did you know that in New York State, the state that we live in, over 750 agencies provide services to individuals with developmental disabilities?
Yeah.
Did you know that? You knew that, okay.
Yeah, I knew that.
Did you know that only 50...
Ask me another one.
I'm going to ask you another one. Did you know that only 50 of those agencies provide mental health services to adults?
Absolutely not.
You didn't know that?
No, I didn't know
And only
that.
2 of those provide services to people with epilepsy.
That I didn't know at all.
Okay.
But I believe we have somebody in our offices.
And you know what? There's a lot of questions I have about this. Why is that?
And we're going to get the answers.
Right. And we have
We
tonight Mr. Joel Ackerman, who's a board member of Epic Long Island. Right?
Welcome, Joe.
Welcome,
Thank you.
Joe.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for being
Joe,
here.
tell us a little bit about Epic and what you guys do and what you guys are all about.
Epic Long Island is one of the little treasures on Long Island in the not-for-profit world. We service individuals with epilepsy and other developmental disabilities. We have 18 group homes where we house adult individuals who have developmental disabilities as well as epilepsy, and we have a day hab program, and we have a mental health clinic as
Okay,
well.
so for our viewers who don't know what epilepsy is, what is epilepsy? And who does it affect?
Epilepsy is an invisible disease. It is not one that you don't see blotches on their skin, or it's not something that's really visible. It's a neurological disorder, and it's where someone will go into a seizure. And, when you hear about people who have seizures, that's generally will be someone who has epilepsy.
Who has epilepsy. And it affects all kinds of people. It doesn't discriminate.
No, it does not. It didn't discriminate in my life because I have it.
You have epilepsy, or can you have had epilepsy? Is it something that leaves you?
Well, I have epilepsy from preschool age, and as of now, I'm 26 years seizure-free. So I have.
Is that because of how you take care of yourself?
It's
and
medication.
Okay.
I've been on Dilantin for the last 30 plus years.
Is that the medicine?
That's the medicine back in the late 70s, early 80s, and because it worked for me, it has now been.
Is it hereditary?
There's not formal scientific that it is hereditary, but it doesn't mean that it isn't.
Right.
I don't want to say one way or another, but it's one that if you're on the right medicine and the right dosage, as long as you're, I get my blood tests taken twice a year, and if my levels are
That's
fine.
all? Just twice a year?
Yeah, because I have so much time since, from my last seizure.
So I'm assuming now, based on what you're telling us, right, that you're someone who's afflicted with this terrible disease, that you got involved with Epic Long Island because of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell us about Epic Long Island. What do you guys do? What services you're providing? What's going on? How long has Epic been around?
And how long have you been with them?
Yeah.
Well, Epic has been around for 60 years, and it got started by a couple of families. One family, Fred and Sheila Abrams, and another one, where they really just wanted to get some community education out there about what epilepsy was. So what started really as being just more of a community information system grew into having group homes and a day habilitation center and more resources for teens and a lot of community-driven programs. We do work in the schools. We do work with nurses.
What kind of work do you do? You say that you do some work. What do you do? Is it educational programs?
Yes, we have educational. We have a community education director, and an assistant who goes out into schools, and depending on the age of the children that they're looking to educate, if it's the young kids in primary education, then there's a puppet show called Kids on the Block.
Kids on a Block. It's one of the programs that you do,
Yes.
right? And you're on the board. That's your area, right? Is the program area that you're in charge of?
I am the chair of the programming committee.
Okay.
In that committee, we are more working on within the group homes,
Right.
and all the residential services and the day have programs and the mental health clinics.
And before we get into all of those different things, I want to revert back a little bit if
Okay.
we could. You mentioned from the time you were in preschool that you were afflicted with this disease. And we all know, because as you and I have discussed before the show, I have somebody in my family who is also afflicted with it. And very close to your age. So we grew up in that same era with this, and I never heard of Epic Long Island until we spoke about it.
I didn't hear about it till today.
Yeah, I know. You didn't hear about it
I
until
said,
today.
what's Epic Long Island?
Right?
Okay.
And, it's one of those things where we have so many charities that do such great work out there, but nobody knows who they are. And these guys have been around for 60 years. That's the amazing thing,
Yeah.
right? Is that they've been around for 60 years and not a lot of people know it. And some people may say, well, you didn't have that in your life. I had somebody in my life that was afflicted with this terrible disease, and I had no idea that this was out there for him.
Well, Epic Long Island, we did a name change and a total rebranding. I'm guessing about 8 years ago, maybe 7 years ago, and because we were originally called the Epilepsy Foundation of Long Island,
Okay.
but because we were servicing so many people in so many other areas, we still have it as an affiliation.
Because there's a lot of crossover.
But
Yeah.
this is super.
Yeah.
This is a great name.
And you're going to be even more impressed with what it stands for, because
Okay.
EPIC is an acronym for Extraordinary People in Care.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sensational.
That is awesome.
What I'm telling you is the people that we have, over, I'm guessing 300 plus employees, they are the most extraordinary people. When I go and see them at work with our constituents, and you just see, I work near Roosevelt Field Mall, and in the food court, every once in a while I'll come across, and you get they bring them out to go ahead and have their lunch and go walk around the mall, and I'll tell you, you see them helping them with their lunch, just and just engage in conversation, and it really is, you see it firsthand. It really warms
It's some
your heart.
amazing work, right? Now, you told me a story, okay, about you got on the board of Epic,
Yes.
and you were working with one of the founders
Yes.
of Epic, and you're working with him for a couple of years, right? And then you found out that you had a connection that dated back to when you were a little kid.
Yep.
Right? And that if that person would have only known, because look, we grew up in a time where if you were sick or if there was something wrong with you, you just didn't talk about it. Right?
Right. I grew up in
Embarrassment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up in Smithtown, and my parents, in a middle class, environment, and they didn't. I know, when I got involved with the Epilepsy Foundation, my parents had no idea they even existed. And all they were was in Nassau County.
Right.
So
But
I
not
was
that far.
I was living on Long Island. So what happened was I was at a board meeting, sitting next to Fred Abrams, which I had mentioned, Fred and Sheila, and all of a sudden he says, my son Cliff did X, Y, and Z, whatever. And I turned to him, I said, that wouldn't happen to be the Cliff Abrams of Camp Equinunk. And he said, absolutely it is. So it turns out that after talking and finding out that I knew his son, he was one of the counselors in my camp that I went to for 8 or 9 years, and he had no idea I had epilepsy. All he knew is that I went to the infirmary in the morning and in the evening to go get my medication. And it really, the reason that nobody knew was because I think, we just didn't tell. I think the only person that knew that I had it was the nurse, because she needed to know why I was taking the
Well, your
medication.
counselor knew
And
too,
probably,
didn't
No,
that's what
Cliff
I'm
was
saying.
his counselor.
Cliff was one of the senior counselors in my group
okay,
as I was
okay.
going up the chain, and it just, it just shows you that it was not something that was said. I went to private school for my middle school. I went to Harbor Country Day School in St. James, and nobody there really knew I had it, I think, except for maybe the nurse. And then I went away to boarding school in Wilbraham and Munson Academy in Massachusetts. Same thing, I would let my dorm parent know.
Right.
But it was not something that I just kind of blurted out to everybody until I got to college. When I got to college, people where there was an environment of drinking, I said, you know what? People would ask, do you want something to drink? I said, no, I'm on medicine.
Right.
It's way too risky. If I have a seizure, I lose my license. And people accepted that, so I became the designated driver in college.
Right.
So you were the go-to guy every Friday and Saturday
You were the
night.
original Uber.
Right, exactly.
But you didn't get paid.
That's
though,
a good
right?
Right.
You just got the privilege of driving your friends around. Is that what it was?
Exactly. So, that's how the stigmatism, it was not a known thing. And for that reason, I started working at Holtz Rubenstein in the late 90s. And I was invited
What is Holt Rubenstein?
It was an accounting firm in Melville.
Okay.
And John McAteer, one of the partners, asked me to go to an event for the Epilepsy Foundation. And my head turned back and said, what? Because I didn't even know they existed.
He didn't know.
No, he didn't. Well, he didn't know I had it, but I didn't even know that the organization even existed.
Really?
And from then on, I went from the dinner committee to the golf committee and then onto the board as soon as I was able to. And it's been my go-to organization.
Now, you say you work with group homes and things like that. How many group residences do you guys have in Nassau and Suffolk?
We have 18, with a 19th coming on board in Farmingdale, probably right before the end of the year.
Okay, so what kind of services? One of the things that people get nervous about is there's a group home coming into my neighborhood, right? And they have this fear of, I can't be walking down the street. I got all these people, these crazy people that are going to be coming out and things like that. And on my block, I know of 2 group homes. I live on a very long block.
Right.
And you know what? They're never a problem. You never have a problem with these people. So tell me about the people that are in your group homes and the services that you're providing.
But I'm going to ask you a question. Do you ever hear from those people in the group homes, or ever find them as a problem?
No, not at all. I just said
right.
they're great.
And that's the epitome is when people are looking at that they don't want a group home in their area. Well, guess what? There is somebody at that group home 24/7.
Yep.
There's not a moment's time unless the entire home is off at an event.
Right.
That there's not somebody in that home, which means if something happens to a neighbor or something, and something
there.
happens, you have somebody in there, and their lights are always on, and there's always cars in the driveway or vans in the driveway, and should be more of a sense of safety than more as a detriment.
Right.
It also depends on what people hear that the group
Right.
home is that's coming through the door.
Right.
There are a number of charities that have group homes that are some of the nicest, most wonderful people that you could ever imagine, patient-wise and employee-wise and so on. And, it depends on what it is.
Well, within the group home, we may have 6 to 8 individuals.
So, and how many of those group homes do you guys have?
We have 18 going on 19.
18 going on
Right,
19.
all over Long
So-
Island. If we go from Yap Bank to some, western
So you guys
Nassau.
have a pretty large operating budget, I would think, right? To
Yeah,
run
so
these
it's
group
$28
homes?
million or so.
Okay, so that's a pretty large.
Good deal of
so,
money.
So everybody, listen, when I posted this show, I put a donate button up there. These guys need your money to continue providing the care that they provide to these people. So I need everybody now to go on to Facebook, look for this announcement, hit that donate button, and give to Epic.
Not only that, if you have questions and you would like to write in or you would like to call Joe directly, Joe, what's your phone number for you to get
How
phone
can they-
calls?
how can our-
they get in touch with you?
Get in touch with Epic. What do you look into the camera? And let them know.
The phone number is 516-739-7733.
Do it again.
And Steve, we get that
516-739-7733
and your website.
is www.epicli.org.
Now, people can call you and ask questions and find out more about Epic, and then you can also turn them on to other people within the organization, for people to come visit and take a look at maybe a group home if they need to. How do you get into a group home?
Well, it is a process. We get funding for a particular area, and assistance in when we go ahead and we buy a house and the vetting process of getting a group home is enormous. We have realtors that take a look at because we need a house that's going to be able to be renovated,
Right.
so that way we can go ahead and expand the doorways for wheelchairs if needed. You really have to. We may need ramps. The home that's opening up in Farmingdale are adult men who are not needing it. They're not in wheelchairs, so we have stairs.
Right.
Within the home, the services are wide ranging. It all depends on their abilities. We have people that look, they can't feed themselves, or they need their food to be chopped
So-
in a certain way,
so
and
you
they
get-
get assisted that way.
You get a full range of people and their abilities
Right.
that live in these group homes.
Right.
So you have very high functioning
Yep.
people, and you got very low functioning people, right?
And they're all adults, generally, and they're people that are being aged out of, where they may be in a residential home, that they were in as a high school.
Right.
When do you get aged out in an adult home?
Well, you don't get aged out in an adult home, but you get aged out in some of these teen,
Yeah.
or residential
And
programs.
then where do they go?
They go to hopefully group homes like
an
ours,
adult-
if
to
we
an
have
adult
room.
home.
Yeah,
Yeah, but you also work with kids, right?
we do. The kids is not in the group homes. We do work with kids in our mental health clinic.
Okay.
And we also have another organization, the South Shore Child Guidance Council in Freeport.
Okay.
And that is a drug and alcohol and mental health clinic. as
About
well.
how many kids are you serving through your programs?
It's about
6,000.
6,000 people.
Okay.
Is how I read.
Now, are you doing, let's talk about some of the programs that you're doing.
Sure.
Now, you got programs for the people that are afflicted for it. Do you have programs for the families?
We do. We have programs that for our community education people go out and they will go ahead and provide. If someone just calls us up and my daughter was just had a seizure, I don't have a doctor in my area. Can you recommend one?
All right.
We have a physicians a board that we can then refer them to, so that way if they in their area can get the proper treatment. Then we go in and we may go ahead and counsel the parents, give them the first aid training. What do I need to do if my son has a seizure? No, it's not sticking something in their mouth. To
Right,
try
because
to
I
get their
experienced that as a child with my brother having seizures and my father having to take care of it. So tell us about the Seizure Smart program. What is that all about?
The Seizure Smart program.
Did I catch you off guard?
Yeah.
Here you go, buddy.
Yeah,
It's not so
I'm
smart.
sorry.
Yeah.
No. Yeah, though that's the one that reaches out to the school staff. We do a lot of. If you take a look at our programs, we reach out to we're touching every area where there may be a need, and that is in the school staff. We're reaching out to people who are on site that wouldn't recognize that a seizure is happening and then all of a sudden, and not know what to do.
Right.
It's not always that you can go ahead and say, nurse, come down. The seizure may be already over.
Right.
So you deal with SEPTA?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was. I'll hit you with a couple of other ones. Let's see if we get them right? The Kids on the Block program. I know we talked about this very shortly before the show. So, Kids on the Block sounds like
a rock group.
Well, it was.
It really is. It is a national program from the Epilepsy Foundation of America.
Mm-hmm.
And what it is it's a puppet show.
Okay.
And it's for the primary grades, and they go in and they have a kid who has a seizure,
right?
Or we'll show and the whole story is he's a little different. But it's not, but it's okay.
It's okay, right? It's okay to be different,
right? And it's okay to go ahead and reach out and still be friends with him. And there's there's a lot of that. And the puppet show is one. When I retire, I started to try to go ahead and learn how to do the puppeteering, and then I ran out of time.
What kind of puppeteering is it? Is it the sock puppets or is it the?
Yeah, no, it's a sock puppet. But it's a full. It's a child. We put there's child
like a mannequin type
clothes,
thing, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask a question. Bullying is very big in the world, especially in the United States. Is there a bullying instruction section, or does it get involved with epilepsy? Do people that don't have epilepsy? I'm sure they do start with people because they're different. Okay, how is that possibly handled?
Well, because epilepsy is what we called, as I referred to earlier, as an invisible disease, it's kind of very hard for somebody to, to make, be bullied because of it. Mm-hmm. However, if you go to just even my situation, not that I wasn't, that I was bullied for it, but, I didn't drink in college. And, I got my fair share of, why aren't you, and trying to push it.
Right.
And I just said no. I said, look, it's, my life is
a lot of peer pressure, right?
Right.
Because we all know when you go to college, that's, especially when you go away to college.
Exactly.
And the majority of the people there, this is the first time they've been away from mom and dad. They're free to do whatever they want.
Right.
And the thing was, when I first went, drinking was legal.
Right.
Okay, you just missed that cutoff, right, by a couple of years, but it was still legal. So it was like from day one we were drinking, and we drank a lot.
I've been drinking since the 1800s.
Well, you remember when Prohibition was around, right?
Oh, I developed Prohibition. We created it.
But one of the programs that we have is called Take Charge, and that's our teen program. And that gets to, if you're able to, educate, these kids at all different levels, you never know what that's going to be. I mean, someone could have a seizure. Even the seizures come in all different phases. It could be just me staring at you and I'm just not responding, and someone could call you, hey, space cadet.
Right.
Well, you weren't really being a space cadet. You just really were having a seizure, and nobody knew it because it was just the way that it was being. That's how they come out in your form. It may be that it's just a small shaking of the hands.
Right.
There's all these different forms of it, and I think if we can get out the word of just being aware that someone being a little bit different. It's not because they could be that they're ignoring you, or it could be that something is, that they're doing it on purpose. It really could be something serious that, to them, they just don't want to talk about.
Right.
And if you can, if these kids go ahead and start becoming a bully about it, then it just internalized to the kid and makes it even worse.
And that's part of the problem, right? Is that when kids think that they're different. And I'm going to look at it from both sides. You get, the other kids who don't understand it, they'll bully, right? But then the kid on the other side goes, well, I'm not like everybody else, so I'm different. And it affects them, not so much, even if they weren't bullied, it still affects them.
Absolutely.
Any form of being picked on.
And it doesn't even
them.
have to be picked on. It's like I said,
Right.
if they're not getting bullied, but they feel like they can't do, like Joel said, I can't drink with my friends. So I'm different. So I feel like an outsider. So I don't want to even go there because it's not cool, and I don't want to have to answer the questions as to why. And a lot of those things, if kids, and I think this is part of what you guys do, is educate the kids that it's okay to be different.
Yes.
And that you can function when these things are going on and be accepted.
Absolutely. And we have programs for also, the people, the teens that do have epilepsy.
Mm-hmm.
We have a teen group that's, it's like a social club, for these kids to go ahead and get to, come and be together with people, that have similar situations to them. They will do. They may enter into what's called an art therapy program, which is really, the last several years we've had a grant that has been able to put on this program, and I'll tell you, one of the bright memories that I have about Epic was I was invited to an art show from these kids' artwork.
Right.
And
And
sometimes
how old are these kids that are participating in this
they're
art
all,
therapy program?
teenagers, or on
Okay.
up. There may be more. There may be younger kids. I'm not sure. But it wasn't just you just going and seeing on a board, just various, little pictures or paper mache masks.
Right.
Each one of them told a story. We had a girl that came over to us, and I believe her name was Summer, and she took us to every one of her pictures, and one of them especially, and was telling us what it meant, what she was feeling when she drew that picture. And I'm thinking, I'm no artist, and I went to my art classes and I had no idea. I was just putting stuff on paper that I had to just to get through the class.
Right.
But to them, it was more therapeutic because the story wasn't, this is a picture of a cow.
Everything they created had a meaning behind what they were doing, right?
And if it was a dark picture, it was the dark side of their lives. If it was
Wow.
a bright picture, it may be about the sun always comes up. And it was just, it was fascinating to be able to see inside these kids and what we did.
And this is just a great example of some of the great work that you guys do at Epic. So again, I implore everybody, get out there, hit that donate button. You can even go to epicli, right, .org,
Yep.
and donate there. All right.
Absolutely.
You can find them on Facebook, Epic Long Island, right?
Yes.
All one word. Look them up. Help out these people. How else can they get a hold of you, Joel?
Well, they can.
They can
Call
give
you.
Joel. They can give Epic a call.
Give
at their
Epic a
office
call.
hours.
I'm one of the board members. I'm an accountant during the day.
In your real life.
In real life.
In real life.
But I'm very much involved in the organization, and they to get in touch with people. All you have to do is just ask for Tom Hopkins is our president and CEO.
Okay.
They can ask for him, or Eileen Coletti is our development director. She
Right,
can
and
certainly-
I spoke with her last night, right? And
And-
Eileen, I'm sorry you couldn't make it tonight. We wish you were here.
We'll get you next time.
We'll get you next time.
Let me ask you a question. You have a nice budget. We agree to that.
Yeah.
But you also have 6,000 participants within your organization. So $28 million is a lot of money, but 6,000 people are a lot of people. So sometimes we have some excess, sometimes we don't, sometimes we run short, and we're always looking for ways to raise money. What special events does Epic do to raise additional monies, for the organization?
Well, we have a golf outing in the summer, and that generates.
How many people do you normally get?
We get about 120 or so golfers,
Sweet.
130 golfers, and then we get a lot of people just for the dinner. We have a gala that we do every year, which this year is on February 28th at the Garden City Hotel.
And who are you honoring this year? Anybody special?
It's still being discussed. But the other thing is that we also do a walk, and it's the Saturday after Columbus Day, and the walk every year at Eisenhower Park has increased every year. In terms of the money, we raised it. This particular walk, we're over $85,000.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's
and
nice.
it really is.
How many people?
I think we had about 600 or 700.
I got a question for you. Our viewers are watching tonight. They're asking questions. Okay, I got a question from Satch Zero. How do we help make children in school aware of these conditions? What tools do you offer? That's the question
That
from
is
Satch.
a perfect question. What you can do is you can contact Janet Romeo at Epic, Long Island.
Okay.
And she goes into the schools, and depending on the age of the children that need to be educated or the nurses, they go in and they train every level.
So you can call Janet Romeo at the 516
739-7733.
7733. So, Satch, reach out to Janet. She'll help you out. Is there a resource guide you can share? I know you sent me one. If they go to your website, can they get that information there on all the resources that you guys offer?
Absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah, there are
great.
drop-down menus, and there's a whole section.
And it's all printable.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, as a matter of fact, he sent it over to me today. That's part of what I gave you. So that's all good stuff. We're doing that. So those are some of the questions that are coming in on that. So people really care about what's going on, and
That's
obviously some people have people in their lives that are afflicted with this. And they want to get it out there. It's so important that we educate everybody about these type of diseases because, it goes back to what you were saying before is if people don't understand it, they can't help it.
Of course.
Exactly.
And it goes to acceptance, it goes to all kinds of different things, and making quality of life better, because it's really what you guys are all about, right? Is making the quality of life of these people that are afflicted with this that much better.
Well, what you really want to do is, if somebody's inflicted with this, is you want to instill that they can still be part of the community.
Right.
And that's really what you want to talk about is the other part of Epic that that people don't really know is that they're out working. We have a program without walls, and they're actually volunteering and working at Walmart or at PetSmart or
So
any
you're
other
training
organizations.
these people to be able to go out and get jobs,
Self-sufficient.
Exactly.
right? And get them those jobs and make sure that they're successful at it.
Absolutely.
That's a fantastic program.
And it's one that it gives them, and it's giving them the ability, but it also makes them feel good.
Right.
So even though the company is getting the resource because they're getting the people, to help, and put stuff on the shelves, or maybe sorting boxes or sorting items.
Or even being a greeter at the door,
A
right?
greeter at the door, and it's not, quote, free labor.
Right.
But really what it is that what they're giving those people is such a sense of self-worth.
Yeah.
And it's invaluable.
They
There's
feel
a-
important. They feel a part of it. I'm sorry. I didn't
That's
cut
all
you off.
right.
Go ahead.
There's a major supermarket chain that I use. I'm not going to mention who it is, who employs, again, whether they pay them or whether they do it gratis, disabled young people who have the greatest smiles on their face because they're packing your bag for you. They
Yep.
get so much enjoyment out of the fact that they're conversing with you and that then they're packing the bag and they'll ask you questions. Do you want this in this bag and this in this bag? It's just it's wonderful to see.
And that's the type of programs that you're offering.
Yeah.
And, again, guys, hit that donate button today.
Please.
We feel like
Go
a
up there and do
telethon
that.
tonight.
I
It's
really
great. I
do.
love this.
do feel like a telethon.
Yeah, telethon.
This is something that has touched me personally. It's touched Joe.
Drum roll. Stephen,
roll.
give us a drum roll. All right.
Okay.
When you were talking about putting smiles on the faces, I think what we also do, what Epic does is, I do community theater.
I was just going to bring that up because you
Okay.
mentioned community, and I was going to say, how else do you do that? Because I know you're very involved in the community, because you and I have had these discussions before about your community theater
Right.
experience, right?
Yep.
So tell us about that. Tell us, first of all, how did you get involved in community theater?
I went to my wife Terry every year goes to see a friend of a Temple friend at the Northport Community Theater on Mother's Day, and one year we went to go see it, and in the playbill it said "Coming soon, Les Miserables."
Okay.
So I turned to her. I said, "I want to do that. I want to be in it because I'm a big Broadway. I grew up with listening to it, that's what
Right.
what I enjoy. And
Can you sing?
yeah,
Good for you. I can't.
so
a note.
we go and so I start getting involved in the theater. And as I was getting involved in another greater organization, I started to offer tickets to Epic, saying, you know what, if you want to send some people from the group homes. So the first year we got one of the group homes said yes. Next year a couple more. The last time I think I had 5 group homes coming to the show.
Wow.
And it leaves such a lasting impression. First of all, you would never know that they were in the audience because they're just enjoying to be out. I'm we do a lot of these family picnics and other events that as a board member I just kind of make sure that I can get to because I like to go and see who, and be with the people that we service. And there was this one woman, I'm on the opposite end. I'm at one picnic table A, and she's has to be 4 or 5 picnic tables away. And she's screaming at the top of her lungs, I saw you on stage. And you could just tell.
You make that lasting impression.
And this is 3 months later after the show. She ended up coming to, I think, probably the last, 3 out of the last 4 or 5 shows. So you could tell that they remember it.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I want to get out there is, if you're involved in a community theater and there are empty seats, please call Epic. They would be happy to go ahead and fill those seats with people that can enjoy it. And I'm going to be one to tell you, they will not interrupt your program.
They'll be great. They'll be great guests. They'll be great audience.
And they have counselors. They have people that are with them
Right.
to keep them,
If
quiet.
something should happen, if there should be an
Right.
incident
If
there,
there's a
there are
problem.
people there
Right.
to make sure that doesn't get out of hand. And that's all fantastic stuff. Now, you provide services for people that have other issues.
That's correct.
Do you work with other agencies
or organizations.
or organizations?
We will work with many organizations on Long Island. We will work, like our program, of getting out into the community will be with other organizations. Like, the book fairies is one. That we're involved with. They'll go ahead and we'll exchange the books with them.
So tell us about the book fairies, because actually they're going to be a guest on our show.
Great.
at some
It's a great organization. Amy has created another little treasure. They've given out over 1 million books on Long Island to needy families, needy organizations, schools and school teachers. I collect books in my office. I'm going there on a weekly basis.
Children's books?
Children's and adults.
So for those people that still have books like I do,
Yep.
don't throw them out.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the point that I make to people. I say the libraries don't want them anymore because they're all on electronic e-reader stuff, and so now the books are
It's
just
funny.
getting thrown away.
Not too long ago, about a year ago, I went up to my local library to look for a book, and they were like, "Oh no, it's digital now. You got to get it." And I'm like, "I can't read a book on a tablet. I just can't do it. I got to have the paper."
Listen to it in your car.
Yeah, right. That's another thing.
my wife
Listen to it
does.
in your house. Listen to it in your car as you're driving back and forth to work. Things like that. These are all great programs, Joe. And again, I want to implore everybody to reach out to Epic, help them. Now, you mentioned some events earlier that you have coming up, right? You got your walk that's coming up right after Columbus Day.
The walk happened
Right after Columbus Day.
So every year, look out for it.
So that's in October.
That's in October. It's
Right.
always like
Okay.
the 15th or 16th, depending on whatever that day.
So you
falls
got
out on.
events pretty much all year long that are going on, right? You got something going on tomorrow night, right?
Yes.
So tell us about that.
Tomorrow night we have a girl who wrote a book, and they're actually going to be doing a podcast.
Now, Steve, I don't know if you can get this, and I don't know if it's too light, but do the best you can. All right, good.
Yeah, we
you got
it.
it.
Okay.
Okay.
She's going to be talking about her book, and the podcast is going to be recorded at Epic.
What's her name? Is there a name on it?
Yeah, there is a name
Sorry
on it.
about that.
Sorry about that.
It's author Alyssa Kennedy Jones, okay, and writer Jessica Keenan Smith. All right, living well with epilepsy. And they're going to be doing a podcast, right? This is what it says here. So they'll be doing this podcast from my misadventures in motherhood, love, and epilepsy. So that's their podcast.
My misadventures
In motherhood.
love, and epilepsy. There you go.
So I'm sure it has to do with what a lot of people are
Motherhood
going
and
through.
motherhood and
and dealing with
epilepsy.
epilepsy.
I figured that out.
Yeah, see, you're pretty,
And
pretty sharp.
we've had other book signings and book discussions in the past for local people on Long Island who have come in and written books on whether it's a teenage.
What's the most special thing that Epic has ever done? Have you done anything special that's out of the ordinary? That's not.
I think the most special thing is us getting them out in the community, and the smiles that we get on their faces.
But how did you get those smiles on the faces? What did you do?
We went out to the local stores and found out who would go ahead and let them come in and help.
Got it.
And same thing with the just getting the transportation and the staffing for them to come see my shows. I'm telling you, it's why I go on stage, is to go ahead and see the smiles on the audience, and and to see the joy that we put on. I mean, we're cast of over 100 to 150 people.
Wow.
In a tiny
pretty
little
big.
small theater, and and when you get to see the reaction of the audience, that's what it's why we do it.
I mean, it still blows my mind that this organization has been around for 60 years, and I really never heard of it. And it's we say this about the Air Force Auxiliary, right? It's like one of the best kept secrets in the world.
Absolutely.
I'm part of the Air Force Auxiliary.
Are you familiar with the Air Force Auxiliary?
No.
See, right? And so we've been around since 1941. So, it's one of those things.
Right.
It's like the best kept secret out there. We always say that. Yeah, but we got 60,000 members, across the
It was
country.
all about the war, but you look up, you can read about
Right,
it.
yeah, and it goes on. And I could talk about that. Like you could talk about
Right.
this, I could talk about that all night long.
And I used to hide under my desk.
We used to hide it, right? Yeah, we used to,
Right,
we used to have to do the drills where we had
Right.
to hide under our desks because the Russians were sending bombs
They're
over.
going to bomb us. They come right through the window.
Those were the days.
Did you ever see the movie The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming?
Yes.
Go, you saw it. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, years ago. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what it was.
So you work with kids, about 6,000 kids that you have in your program, right?
And adults.
And adults. Are the adults, do you only work with adults that are in your homes, or do you work
No,
with,
we have a whole.
do you have
we-
other services?
We have a full day rehabilitation facility. We're located at 1500 Hempstead Turnpike. It used to be the Snapple building where they.
Okay. All right, yeah, I know the building.
Then
Right
it
off-
became
right off
Luke
the
Oil.
Meadowbrook,
Right
right?
off the Meadowbrook. We bought it from Luke Oil about 6 or 7 years ago, or so, just around the time that we were changing our rebranding and stuff. And that facility, we have a full mental health clinic and a day hab. They have a library, of books, so that way they, and the day hab programs, they have, people coming in all day long.
Is there a gymnasium or something like that in the building?
It's not a gymnasium, but our main day have area is one big open room. And then we have individual little rooms for, equipment and therapy and that kind of stuff. And that's how, I think if you look at how Epic evolved, we started as being a community, outreach for epilepsy. And then if you really look at people who have epilepsy, also have they may have autism, they may have some other developmental disabilities. And that's kind of how we ended up, if you really look at why we had changed our name to Epic, was because we really were servicing so much more.
Right.
And then when you look at the mental health area, people with these kind of diseases are dealing with being different, and having to deal with the bullying of today. And that's why we also now, we have these, the mental health clinic, and we do so much work, in that area.
Where is Epic headed? We know where you've been. We know where you are. Where are you going? What are the future plans for Epic? You're on the board. I'm sure it's been discussed. or about to be discussed on where you plan on
Now he's going to go
going.
back to the board and say, hey, we got to talk about
We
where
got to
we're
talk
going.
about what we're doing.
These
Well-
guys said, hey, where are you going? I got to be able to answer that question.
Just
And this is a business counsel, so you don't want to tell him something wrong. He's
No.
going to tell you that you're mistaken.
by all means. I mean, I think where we're headed is increasing our footprint of who we're caring for. We're opening up our 19th group home. And that's very important because, as you know, the state, it shows how much the organization is looked at by other organizations because we're being told, okay, we really want you to put another facility together, and then we go ahead and work with the state in order to do so.
Right.
The revenues is what it is, but obviously when you're at 28, you want to go to 30, you want to go to 40.
Right.
You're always looking to go higher and higher. It doesn't mean that we then have more money in our pocket, in the end. But if we
It just enables you to do more.
it enables us
right.
to do more. But what it means is that we've now covered more people. So we have, if we bring in another $1 million, of revenue from the state, it probably means that we needed to spend $950 to, or even $1 million just to staff where that person, those people were.
Right.
This
Right.
group home is going to need probably four staff people every day.
Yeah, I mean,
24/7.
look, we all know the healthcare industry doesn't pay great. So the people that are out there dedicating themselves in these group homes they're not making a lot of money. It's not like when people say, "Oh, he's got a
They
$28
do
million
it for a different
budget."
purpose, though.
There's a lot of costs that are associated with this, but it's not high salaries, right? Which is one of the concerns that you always see when you got a charity.
Right. There was a campaign called, I think, the Fair Pay for Direct Care. That was the campaign that was to try
Right.
to get the pay up for the
Well,
constituents.
some of these
Yeah.
people you can make more at McDonald's,
You really can, and I think
and that's a shame.
it really is a shame, and it's not because we don't want to pay them. Trust me, if we
money-
could budgetarily, we would.
Right.
I think what it is that people do it because they enjoy it. We went out. My wife likes to go out into garage sales.
Right.
And she found at a garage sale that was being a benefit for breast cancer,
Right.
a special needs bicycle. So of course, for $10,
What would be a special needs bicycle?
the bicycle has straps, and it's just
I got you.
configured that a person with disabilities it's not, and it's obviously not on just two wheels. And as soon as she saw it, she obviously said, "Look, we got to go ahead and take it. I don't care. We'll find a place for it." And of course, I called up, Paul Giotis, and tried to find out, where would it be best. So we went out to the Yapank group home, and we got very good. We were talking with a lot of the people that are there, and you can kind of tell that they knew these people, so they were so close to their constituents. And when we brought the bicycle in, there was people that hadn't ridden a bicycle ever in their lives, and all of a sudden we're able to go ahead and pedal down the block. And from as soon as they got on it, boom! It was like a kid getting his own his first go-kart or whatever. And these are people that wouldn't have ordinarily just gotten on a bicycle and ridden. And those are the kinds of things. And the people that were there, the woman that was one of the managers. She's like, "Joel, we've never seen this guy be so happy. We've never seen him smile like that."
It giving them something that makes them somewhat normal, be able to do
Exactly.
something normal, right? Riding a bike to us it's a normal thing to do, but for somebody like that who has never been able to do it, it brings tremendous joy to them. Probably
Yeah.
more joy than we got doing it.
Right.
Depending
know?
on the organization that I do concerts for, you find that the kids or the participants of the charity who love the music, they just love for any price. Doesn't matter. They just love the music. There are times I've done shows for autistic organizations where I've had the kids on stage singing prior to the concert, and you can't get them off.
No.
You can't
No,
get
they
them
love-
off.
they love being
And
up there. They love
it's
being the
just-
center
it's
of
just
attention.
To watch their
Yeah.
face, it's wonderful. It's
So-
wonderful.
Joe, one more time. One of the things I didn't ask, all right, before
Okay.
we go to the one more time. One of the things I didn't, if somebody didn't have the resources to donate or anything like that, but wanted to give their time, okay,
Then-
how can they do that?
They should contact Eileen Coletti.
So Eileen Coletti's the person to talk to.
She's the go-to.
Right?
She's our
the go-to.
development director.
And how can they get in touch with Eileen?
At the phone number 516-739-7733.
Could you repeat that?
516-739-7733. The way that people got involved in the foundation, like I said, I started on, now I forget if it's the golf committee or the dinner gala committee.
Right.
We will be happy to go ahead and bring you through one of our group homes. Mm-hmm. And I'll tell you that, or even just through our day ahead program, and even just getting one of these tours, all of a sudden you're going to feel the love and the desire for why we do what we do, and what we're doing is extraordinary. Mm-hmm. It'll pull you in. And we have some board members that was they have no ties to epilepsy at all, but the reason that they're doing it is because they went to one of the group homes, they went to an event, and just saw what.
How many board members do you have?
I think we're at about 12 or 13.
Yeah, it's a nice sized board.
All right.
It's nice.
So, Joel, I told you the time was going to fly by, right?
It certainly did.
All right. So,
It's what
We're already done. My gosh.
yeah, we're already at the end.
Okay.
We want to, again, one more time, right? Epic Long Island. If you can donate money, donate money. If you
Hit
can
that donate
time,
button.
Hit the donate button. If you can donate your time, get in touch with Eileen Coletti, right, at epicli.org. Or, again, 516. Okay.
And by all means, if you have any questions, you can even shoot me an email at Joel, Joel, at autocpa.net, AUTOCPA.net.
Got it.
All right, great. Thank you, Joe. We really appreciate you being on the
Thank
show.
you.
All
Pleasure.
right.
Thank you so much. It was
Okay.
very educational.
Yeah, it was very
And that's
educational.
something that we're going to work on as far as promoting Epic.
That would be wonderful.
Epic. That's
Yeah.
the key. 60 years, we have to work on Epic.
Epic. We got to get them out there.
Absolutely. And we will help you with that.
All
Use
right.
all the help we can get.
Okay. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you.
Well, it was a nice meeting tonight, right?
It was
nice.
You know what's
Nice
great?
show.
Joel's a great guest.
Don't tell
you
him.
know?
He's here. He's
So
still here.
listen, we got some things coming up.
Yeah,
you
well,
got some things coming up.
I got a show coming up on the 30th.
Well, you got one coming up this Saturday too, don't you?
Oh, in Pennsylvania. Yeah,
Pennsylvania, right? So we get that John Fogerty show.
Well, we got,
right?
we
no,
got,
the John Fogerty show's the 30th.
No, we got Fastlane coming up down at the Kirby Theater down in Keswick, Pennsylvania. I'm sure all of you from Long Island are going to get into the car and run down there and go see the show. Tell them that Norman sent you. And we have the John Fogerty show coming up on the 30th, which is going to be here in Belmore. And that's going to be a killer show.
So now, if they want to
Absolutely
get a
killer.
hold of you, right? Because let's remind everybody what Norman does. What Norman does is he helps charities raise money through concerts,
To music.
right? To
That's it.
music. Exactly.
I
what
bring
Norman
people
was
to
talking
your organization that you'll never ever meet. And you'll never see their money, and you'll never get to meet them, and they'll never join your organization. And that's the basis about what we're going to talk about.
And he's got some great talent. I've seen it, so
Yeah, you have.
I can attest to it. But how did they get a hold of you, Norm?
631-698-9696, or you can reach me on email, www.friendentusa.com.
All right.
And you, Mr.
fantastic.
Businessman?
I got a whole bunch of things going on.
Yes, you do.
All right. Tomorrow night, I've been invited by the Long Island Speakers Bureau to be a part of an expert panel of members that talk about being on a show like this. And the panel.
Where is this?
This is going to be at the Boom Business B2B show in Melville.
At the Hilton,
At the
Hotel,
Hilton, right.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
gonna
I'm going to be there too.
Yeah, I'm going to be talking between 6 and 7 p.m. in room 9. Panel Room 9. You can find me there. That's
Will you
tomorrow
sign
night.
autographs?
I'll sign autographs.
Give
yeah.
books and stuff?
I'll bring some books and I'll sign my books and stuff. And Joel, I owe you a book, okay?
Okay.
So I apologize. I usually bring them for you, but I owe you a book. And then on December 5th, I'm going to be doing a thing at the Miller Business Center called Building the Business Owner's Roadmap, and we're going to be going through how to really design an interactive business/life plan, because one of the things that people don't
sounds
take into
interesting.
account is their life is their business and business is their life, so they need to know how to balance that. And that's part of what I'm going to be doing on December 5th at the Miller Business Center. But if you want to get a hold of me, and for those of you who don't know, I'm a business strategist and author. I got a whole
Consultant.
list. I got a whole list of things. Consultant, accountant. You know, we do all kinds of
Business
different
manager.
things. Business management type stuff. But you
Controller.
you can reach me at.
Should I keep going?
You can keep going if you want. You can reach me at 631-721-4347, or on my website at www.cbms.co.
Tell him Norman sent you.
All right. Or on Facebook at CBMS Consulting. And yes, tell them Norman sent you. All right. When you call.
Well, that's it for tonight.
Yeah, that's it for tonight, guys.
Next week, we have a guest that's going to tantalize you. Let's leave it at that.
Well, tantalized by taste, right?
By taste, yes. By
Right, very
food
similar
and
to what
taste
we had previously.
and foods.
Foods
But
and-
not chef,
No, but health stuff.
but good stuff.
Good health stuff.
Good health stuff.
right,
Good
so-
tasting stuff.
So don't miss our show next Wednesday night, guys, 8 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/Area22 Productions, right? Or on Facebook Live. Hopefully Facebook Live will be up again next week. And on YouTube Live. So don't miss out. We'll see you next week. Thank you
And
for joining us.
next week, we may have call-in.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah,
That's
guys,
right.
that's
So
the
you'll
other
be able
thing.
to call
yeah.
in next week.
Next week, you may be able to call in. We'll actually be able to take your calls. God help us if
We'll
my
talk to
cousin
you
John
live.
is going to be watching.
Just be nice with us.
John, we're going to block your calls, buddy.
Steve, you could be the first call in. Anyway, good night, everybody. Have a great week, and we'll see you next
All
week.
right, everybody,
Thank
have
you.
a great week. Thanks for joining us.
Today's show is brought to you by Friend Entertainment USA, producing the best concerts for charities and corporations for over 30 years. And CBMS Consulting Services. Control your business before it controls you. In association with Area 22 Productions, your multimedia streaming network. If you're interested in being a guest on our show, visit our website at www.bphdmm.com for more information.